Today, I would like to talk about one of the most important skills that you need to know, not just for bar exams or law school exams, but for your life as a lawyer. How to properly analyze and answer constitutional law problems or questions. Last Tuesday, one of the problems in my constitutional law midterm exams went like this. Amidst rapid climate change, the Philippines decides to relocate its capital to a man-made floating island named New Manila. To fund this massive project, Congress, by a vote of three-fourths of all its members, proposes to amend the Constitution to allow the sale of some portions of Philippine territory to foreign entities covering uninhabited islands which show no economic potential as determined by the National Economic and Development Authority, or the NEDA. Critics argue that this proposal is invalid because this is not a mere amendment but a revision that alters the national territory. Decide with reasons. Okay, if you're faced with a problem like this, the first thing you need to do is spot the critical issues. Here, the critical issue is whether Congress's proposal is valid. Take note, the critics argue that the proposal is invalid because allegedly it's not an amendment but a revision. So the first question you need to ask yourself is this: does the distinction between an amendment and a revision matter for purposes of the validity of the proposal? In this case, it doesn't. It doesn't matter whether the proposed change is an amendment or a revision because Congress meets the required three-fourths vote of all its members to make a valid proposal. Remember, under Section 1 of Article 17 of the 1987 Constitution, Congress, by a vote of three-fourths of all its members, can propose either an amendment or a revision. So, here, the distinction between amendments and revision is relevant to the validity of the proposal because the required vote is met by Congress. Let's try to differentiate this from cases like Defensor Santiago versus Comelec. In that case, the proposed change was a revision. However, it was being attempted through the exercise of people's initiative. So here's the catch. Under the Constitution, people's initiative is limited only to proposing amendments, not revisions. So the problem there wasn't about the proposal's substance or content. It was about the method used to propose the change. In my exam problem, however, the issue of amendment versus revision is relevant because Congress has the power to propose both, as long as they meet the three-fourths vote requirement, which they did. Now, here's where some answers get creative but miss the point. Some might argue that the proposed amendment violates Article 1 of the Constitution, which defines the national territory. However, remember, you cannot invalidate a proposed amendment to the Constitution for being unconstitutional. Why? Because an amendment is precisely meant to change the Constitution. An amendment seeks to change the Constitution, and it's up to the people to decide whether to ratify it or not. Even the Supreme Court doesn't have the authority to review or to judge the content of a proposed amendment based on its conformity with existing constitutional provisions. After all, the whole point of an amendment is to alter those constitutional provisions. So, what can be invalidated is the process of proposing the amendment. In this case, the process is clear. Congress satisfied the constitutional requirement of three-fourths vote. So, the validity of the proposal is in order, and it's for the people to decide in a plebiscite whether to ratify it or not. And here's another critical lesson that you need to learn. When you are asked to decide with reasons, the exam is not asking you for personal opinion or a theoretical debate or discussion. It is asking you to apply the law to the given facts. So you have to be precise. You have to stick to the constitutional rule and the facts at hand. In this case, the rule is simple. Congress can propose amendments or revisions by a three-fourths vote of all its members. And the facts, Congress complied with that. So the conclusion is straightforward. The proposal is valid, regardless of whether you call it an amendment or a revision. Now let me summarize the lessons here. Number 1, spot the critical issue. Number 2, focus on the constitutional process. Number 3, understand that amendments can change the Constitution. And number 4, apply the law to the facts precisely and directly. So, take note, law exams are about clarity, focus, and precision. So, don't get sidetracked by debates that aren't relevant. What is the issue? What is the applicable rule? What are the facts? Do they align? Answer those questions, state your conclusion, legal basis, and reasoning, or in short, use the CLR method and you will excel. This is Dean Ralph Sarmiento saying good luck.